Good afternoon, and welcome to the Fall 2015 SWOG Group Meeting General Plenary Session. Our focus today at this meeting, and always, is on patients and the advocates who represent them. We strive to improve patient care and thus to improve patient lives through our research, with patients serving as both our ends and our means. We, of course, can learn from the people we treat, drawing on their experience and knowledge to do better clinical studies. Today, we will learn more about how to better work together and truly make patients our partners. Now, Plenary II frequent flyers know I'm a creature of habit. A greeting, a nice clean Jewish joke, which my predecessor somehow made and accepted and very much looked forward to, part of plenary, a summary of news and accomplishments, meeting happenings, a list of awardees, with a request you visit the Hope Lounge and give all your money to the Hope Foundation, the best of SWOG, and invited speakers. You may remember that at our last meeting we didn't have any major changes in leadership. Today we have so many to announce and so many important people to honor that we're going to shake things up a little. But not completely. As one of only 2 opportunities I get each year to speak to you directly, I'll take a moment here to update you on important SWOG news. Available now is the cooperative group issue of the journal Seminars in Oncology, edited by myself and my NRG counterpart, Dr. Wally Curran. This issue is filled with stories about cooperative group research, and a huge percentage of the authors were SWOGies, including some of today's plenary speakers and attendees. There are too many to name right now, but you know who you are, and I offer a huge thank you to all of you. For everyone else, I strongly encourage you to get a copy of this issue and read it, as it is the story of where cooperative groups, and especially SWOG, are today and where we're going tomorrow. More good news. We're redesigning SWOG.org. Finally redesigning, my very few and highly misinformed detractors might say. The first step in this process is asking you how we can make the website more useful, more attractive, and easier to navigate. Pete and Laura from iFactory, the Boston firm conducting our user needs assessment, may have already flagged you down to take a survey about the site. If you didn't have a chance to talk with them and let them know what's working and what's not, please don't fret. We'll be sending out a survey asking your opinions, and do please respond. Tell us about the content and features you most use or would like to. I encourage you all, doctors, CRAs, advocates, and all members of our SWOG family, to share your ideas. We're a far-flung group, and the website is the one place we can all congregate, at least virtually. I want to be sure it's the very best place it can be. SWOG.org not only needs to be useful, intuitive, and engaging, but also aligned with all of our digital communications efforts. So tomorrow, I'll be asking the Board of Governors to approve a new and permanent administrative committee. It's the Digital Enhancement Committee, and, if officially blessed, will be overseen by Executive Officer Dr. Craig Nichols, staffed by Communications Manager Wendy Lawton, and chaired by Dr. Don Deason, a medical oncologist specializing in gyn-onc at the Mass General. He is an avid social media user and chair of the Communications Committee for ASCO, for whom he writes a monthly column. This committee, made up of staff, researchers, advocates, and patients, will be charged with creating and implementing a plan for developing a set of digital tools that we need to effectively meet our mission. We have an exciting opportunity to use social media to connect with patients, to use the web to better share our trial data, and to use email newsletters to better connect with each other. This group will lead the way. Here's where we diverge from the customary. We're skipping Best of SWOG this meeting to not only make room for our plenary panel, but also to accommodate a huge raft of farewells and welcomes. SWOG is a dynamic organization, always evolving, and our leadership proves it. We're actually going to start with our org chart rather than a person. We're saying farewell to some old titles. Dr. Ann Schott, in the upper green box, and as my right hand, remained SWOG's named deputy chair, serving as my main advisor and running the show in my absence. However, you'll note that Dr. Schott has inherited an additional title, vice chair for NCTN, to better reflect her day-to-day contributions in that area. And you can see here that leadership of NCOR gets similar, more consistent billing, as Dr. Dawn Hirschman, the right green box, will be taking over as vice chair, a new title. More on that later. Now we will actually salute our stars. Yes, we have so many performances to applaud that this part of the plenary really has an Oscar-like red carpet feel. We're going to start with our leading actors, the committee chairs. We first extend our gratitude to Dr. Vernon Sondak, who's led our Conflict Management Committee since 2005. Dr. Sondak chaired this group, known until recently as the Conflict of Interest Committee, through a time of tightening federal and professional standards for defining and reporting potential conflicts of interest. Under his guidance, the committee has implemented and monitored more than 24 conflict management plans. Thank you for your service and your important contributions, Vern. If you're here, please stand. We will recognize him either way. We found a worthy successor to Dr. Sondak in Dr. Paula Kunioff, who's already started leading this important committee. Dr. Kunioff, of course, also chairs our Radiation and Onc Committee, and he's director of the Health Cancer Center at the University of Florida. I'm confident he will lead SWOG in continuing to hold our researchers to the highest standards. Thank you for taking on this important additional role, Dr. Kunioff. We also say thanks to Dr. Brandon Hayes-Latin, founding chair of our Adolescent and Young Adult Committee, the first in an adult-focused cooperative group. In that role, he has worked to integrate AYA objectives and awareness through all levels of our cooperative group, including adding AYA liaisons within most of our disease committees and expanding SWOG policy to include patients as young as 15 years of age in our clinical trials as appropriate. He's also collaborated closely with AYA champions in the Children's Oncology Group and the patient advocate community, co-leading the establishment of an AYA working group within the NCTN and putting SWOG at the forefront of efforts to develop a national strategy for raising the level of commitment to research on cancers in adolescents and young adults. Dr. Hayes-Latin, as we say goodbye, we thank you for clearing a new path within the AYA committee, a force to be reckoned with within SWOG and the NCTN. Our consolation for saying goodbye to Dr. Hayes-Latin is saying hello to a rising young star. And no, we did not really get Leonardo to chair the committee, but remember that Larry started this fake picture tradition comparing Dr. Hortabaji to the most interesting man in the world from that beer commercial. I think you'll agree, though, that these committee chairs get younger looking every year. Full of youth, energy, and ideas, the real Mark Lewis from the MD Anderson Cancer Center has contributed greatly to our AYA committee, our Rare Cancers Task Force, now part of the Early Therapeutics and Rare Cancers Committee, and our group's presence on social media. Welcome Dr. Lewis as our new AYA committee chair. Dr. Powell Brown has co-chaired SWOG's Prevention Committee since it was founded in 2008, serving alongside Dr. Gary Goodman and later Dr. Marianne Neuhauser. Trials developed and or overseen by the committee during his tenure include 0820, or PACES, chemoprevention of recurrence in patients treated for colon cancer, for which he is co-PI, and a long-term follow-up to our Signature Select prostate cancer prevention trial. Now, Powell, I know you're here, so please stand up. Thank you. Dr. Brown will be replaced by Dr. Banu Arun, a professor in the Department of Breast Medical Oncology at the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center, with a joint appointment in the Department of Clinical Cancer Prevention. She is founder and co-director of MD Anderson's Clinical Cancer Genetics Program, one of the nation's largest. And in that role, she's led pioneering breast cancer prevention research, evaluating biomarkers in women at high risk of the disease. Dr. Arun has long been a member of SWOG, but I want to welcome her to this new role, as well as express my delight in the quality of leadership in our Prevention Committee, with Dr. Marianne Neuhauser remaining as co-chair. Welcome, Dr. Arun. Dr. James Wade has been co-chair of SWOG's Symptom Control and Quality of Life Committee since its founding in 2008. He is now stepping down from that role. Dr. Wade also serves as co-PI on SWOG's 1013 study, validating a tool for grading EGFR-induced skin toxicities, and I'm confident he will continue to be a major advocate for the role of community oncology practices within SWOG. Dr. Wade has been a friend and a major advisor, although I could have done without his telling me, right before I went, the stories of all his friends who crumped on Mount Kilimanjaro. Nonetheless, Dr. Wade, please stand for our thanks. Dr. Nora Lynn Henry will be taking on Dr. Wade's former role of co-chair of the Symptom Control and Quality of Life Committee, working alongside the other co-chair, Dr. Michael Fish. Dr. Henry is study chair on the just completed trial 1202, a randomized phase 3 study of duloxetine for relieving joint pain in women undergoing aromatase inhibitor therapy for early-stage breast cancer. She also serves as SWOG co-chair for CTSU's AIM study. Let's welcome Dr. Henry. We're not actually dumping Dr. Craig Nichols, Executive Officer for NCOR, and I'm not practicing ageism by showing in his place a picture of my favorite actor, Abe Vigoda. We used to joke quite a long time ago at OHSU, where we both worked, that Abe would play the Craig role when they finally made Lance Armstrong the movie. I'm sure he finds this joke as funny today as he did, those many years ago. When I became chair of this venerable group, Dr. Nichols was one of the core leadership team I brought in to advise me and to serve as executive officer for our cancer control and prevention research and our CCOP, later NCORE effort. You'll be hearing much more about a scientific and administrative expansion of our NCORE side. Dr. Nichols will remain as a key advisor and an executive officer, though with a somewhat different portfolio suited to his particular skill sets, overseeing our member engagement and communications initiatives. By the way, these were the other two Abe slides we considered showing, but I feared for my life had we actually used them. This last one, of course, is my all-time favorite picture. As we transfer Dr. Nichols, we welcome two new executive officers. SWOG's EOs are our directors, developing the vision and helping recruit talent. These new EOs will, between them, take scientific and advocacy ownership for the non-cancer care delivery side of our NCORE research. The first is Dr. Gary Lyman of the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center, who will be the executive officer overseeing symptom control and quality of life research. An oncologist and a noted health economist, Dr. Lyman co-directs the Hutchinson Institute for Cancer Outcomes and studies ways to reduce financial toxicity of cancer treatment for patients. Dr. Lyman, welcome. The second new executive officer we welcome is Dr. Catherine Crew, who will oversee our cancer survivorship and prevention research. Dr. Crew is an assistant professor of medicine and of epidemiology at the Columbia University Medical Center. Within SWOG, she serves as study chair of 0812, testing the effects of high-dose vitamin D on biomarkers in premenopausal women at high risk for breast cancer, and is co-chair for 1200, the phase 3 study of acupuncture to relieve aromatase inhibitor-induced joint pain in breast cancer patients. Dr. Crew, welcome to executive officership. So now it's time for SWOG's equivalent to the Oscar Lifetime Achievement Awards. We're going to be giving a series of encomiums, or speeches that praise someone highly. Now, I know it's petty and maybe even juvenile to point out the similarity of that word to meconium, but I noticed some of you already laughed at that word. And speaking of laughing, it does remind me of an amusing story. It seems in New York City, a famous Israeli pianist was giving a charity concert for the Tel Aviv orphanage before an absolutely packed audience. Right in the middle of the Adagio movement of Beethoven's Sonata No. 8, Opus 13, commonly known as the Sonata Pathétique, an elegant woman jumps to her feet. "Is there a doctor in the house?" she cries. "Yes, madam," comes a reply from several rows back. A man quickly rises. "I am a doctor," he shouts breathlessly. "Doctor," beams the matron, "have I got a daughter for you?" All right, back to the encomiums. Yes, it's a little cheesy, I'm sorry. All right. So moving on, this picture, if we can move one, Wendy, is just a promise for future plaudits. SWOG's longest-serving research committee chair is Dr. David Gandera, who has headed up our lung cancer research efforts since 1997. Dr. Gandera has announced that he'll be stepping down from that role, though not imminently. I mention it now because a search committee has been convened and has received expressions of interest from a host of stellar candidates, strongly suggesting to me our members remain engaged and believe in the future of SWOG. Listing Dr. Gandera's accomplishments in and out of the group will probably take up the entire plenary, so please be prepared for a long speech in San Francisco. We should have an announcement regarding the new chair soon. We now have the wonderful opportunity to further honor two people who have made an indelible impact on SWOG with their hard work, ingenuity, and passion. We're going to start with Mr. Frank DeSanto, and I did not even have to substitute a picture of Serpico here for obvious reasons. Frank DeSanto joined us a little more than 6 years ago back at the University of Michigan as our first full-time communications manager. In that time, Frank launched our Frontline blog and our Twitter feed and helped nurture our nascent patient advocate committee. Frank crafted important policies on publication, social media, and accrual enhancement, and created several innovative accrual tools, such as laminated protocol cards that fit easily into the doctor's pocket. Frank had a hand in shaping or promoting many of our major initiatives, from the VA collaboration to our Latin American work. Frank distinguished himself with his quiet leadership, his keen intelligence, and his sly wit. He couldn't be with us today, which is possibly why my joke wasn't as good as usual, but we send him our very best wishes and our deepest thanks. And now, Dr. Frank Meiskens has served as Associate Chair of Cancer Control and Prevention, and now NCOR, for almost 10 years, during which time he built our current highly productive Cancer Control and Prevention Committee structure. As you have likely heard by now, he is passing that baton in January to the extremely capable Dr. Dawn Hirschman. Dr. Gary Goodman, co-chair of SWOG's Prevention Committee from its 2008 founding through last summer, is nice enough to offer to detail Dr. Meiskens' contributions and express our appreciation. Dr. Goodman.
Thank you. I guess I'm here to deliver some euconium, so get your plastic bags out.
Oh, the joke I didn't make.
Right. Chuck asked me to say a few words about Frank's transition from Associate Chair of Cancer Prevention and Control to the illustrious position of SWOG Senior Advisor. I first met Frank in 1978 as a first-year Hem/Onc Fellow at the University of Arizona. He had been recruited by Sid Salmon in 1977 from the medicine branch and laboratories of the NCI, together with Brian Dury, Dave Alberts, and Steve Jones. Together they formed the nidus of the newly created Hem/Onc program at the University of Arizona. Frank, always on the lookout for new and exciting areas, had a somewhat bizarre interest, especially in the late 1970s, in vitamin A and the large enlarging family of naturally occurring and synthetic derivatives, the retinoids. His laboratory and work in Arizona was pivotal in the development of 13-cis-retinoic acid and trans-retinoic acid as therapeutic agents. Frank was also intrigued with the potential use of the retinoids as cancer prevention agents and steered his laboratory toward that new discipline. Michael Sporn's then recent publications, where he had first coined the word chemoprevention, and Frank's research in this area got many of us impressionable fellows interested in the field of cancer prevention and set many of us on our career pathways. Frank first joined SWOG in 1978 when he found he was the only attending Hem/Onc staff left in town and responsible for covering the entire Hem/Onc program when Salmon, Dury, and Alberts and Steve Jones were away at the 3 times a year SWOG meeting. So he decided that he better join SWOG also. Frank's initial interest in SWOG was melanoma, but as prevention became a more accepted area of cancer research, in 1988 he was asked to start a cancer prevention committee in ASCO, and in 1989 Chuck Coltman asked him to start a cancer control committee in SWOG. The committee, its subcommittees, and the interest in cancer prevention it spawned flourished and matured within SWOG. SWOG soon became the cooperative group with the strongest expertise in prevention, to the point where we were able to successfully compete for and complete 2 of the largest chemoprevention trials in the United States, PCPT and SELECT. Those were heady days in the field of cancer prevention. We were really going to change the world of cancer care. In 1989, Frank left Arizona and moved to UC Irvine to become the founding director of its Cancer Center. He guided it to its NCI comprehensive designation status and served as its director until 2012. He was also chief of Hem/Onc at UC Irvine from 1989 to 1997 and served the dean's office from 2000 to 2009, where he initiated their programs in public health, pharmaceutical sciences, and nursing. Although he was spending more time in administration, his research focus remained. In 1989, Frank and UC Irvine joined our beta-carotene and retinol lung cancer prevention trial, and his study center recruited 4,224 current and ex-smokers. He also remained active in the lab, but focused more on melanoma. And because of the surprising results of CAROT that showed high-dose beta-carotene supplementation increased the incidence of lung cancer, got interested in redox chemistry and carcinogenesis. Most recently, he's been involved in studying ornithine decarboxylase inhibitors and DFMO, which is currently being studied in a SWOG colon cancer prevention trial. Based on his work with polyamines and DFMO, he and his long-term colleagues at Arizona established Cancer Prevention Pharmaceuticals in 2008. This company, which has its mission to bring new and old chemoprevention risk reduction drugs and compounds to the clinic. Frank's role in the field of cancer prevention and control has been long-standing. I don't think it's an exaggeration to really say he's been one of the fathers of clinical cancer prevention research. He's been recognized as a leader in the field of ASCO, AACR, and NCI, serving on many national advisory panels. His role within SWOG has also been critical. After 10 years' absence from SWOG, in 2007, Larry Baker asked him to re-enter the fold as Associate Chair for Cancer Prevention and Control. He reorganized and reinvigorated the SWOG cancer control effort, formed new committees with new programmatic directives, all of which were critical in SWOG's successful competition for the NCTN and NCORP grants. Besides Frank's interest in cancer control, he served on numerous committees and professional societies and has won numerous awards and honors. We will miss his day-to-day input into SWOG, but will continue to seek his wise counsel. Corporate memory and experience is an invaluable asset in moving forward. Decisions based on a deep understanding of past successes and failures are all the more wise. Thank you, Frank.
We will be presenting this plaque that reads, in honor of your valuable contributions to SWOG and your service as Associate Chair from 2007 through 2015. SWOG leadership. Thanks.
If you were born before about 1960, you should know what symbol I showed. Thank you very much for the accolades and the summary of my career. How do I respond to that in 5 to 7 minutes, 37 years in SWOG? Well, exhilarating, challenging, important, stumbling, evolving. And as we watch and participate in NCORP rolled out and CCDR program, the new mantra, and also within this mantra, cancer control and prevention, including prevention, how will all that come out? Furthermore, we are in the age of personalized medicine, with personalized medicine being redefined as precision medicine or genomic medicine. And epidemiology is struggling from all of this. Where will be its place? If we are lucky, perhaps in 20 years, precision prevention with individual risk-benefit profiles, a combination of genomics and genetics and non-genomics will pave the way. It's not just our heritage, but it's also our culture that affects what we become and what diseases we are afflicted with. But at the core, SWOG is about people, which defines the fabric of SWOG. Too many people to thank here today, except to say thank you to all of you for all your hard work and diligence. Personally, my major personal reward has always been seeing others do well, largely because of my background. And the large number of colleagues here with whom I have worked over these many, many years, I see you all, gratifies me greatly. But time do begin to come to a close. As some of you know, I've written 2 books of poetry. I started in the 3rd year of medical school and till about the fellowship, and then I stopped and I put my armor on until 2001, in which a particular patient broke through. And throughout my career, I've had about 5 patients who have changed me both as a physician and as a person. In 1990, 1 year into UC Irvine, I was seeing every patient that came in the door. And there was a patient who came in who'd been at 4 or 5 other hospitals. And because I'd done work with retinoids, I recognized that she had early, and this is an old term, mycosis fungoides. And I took care of her for the next 25 years. And I'm going to read you this poem because it will tell you about how I really feel about life and patients, and then conclude with a couple of remarks. It's called Not Enough. I have been your doctor for 18 years, often wondering from whence came the fortitude that allowed you to live with a grace and ready smile, with the disease that was there for all to see. Ulcerating, fungating, penetrating year after year, but always responding, at least for a while, to our latest potion or manipulation, one step ahead of the transformation. And your laughter and love of life always there, but not this time, not today. What is it now, regimen 8 or 9? The ugliness crawling where it was not supposed to go, rotting your face as if you were a leper. But dressed in your best finery, today a brave smile. A single tear, and then tears, more tears, and then a flood. A handwritten note entreating me not to abandon you, like an arrow through my heart. There has to be something, Dr. Maskins. Yes, a new medicine, and the cancer is in retreat. But I am sleepy all the time, and I can't enjoy life. Not enough, even at 78. And there will never be enough time spent trying to alleviate disease and promote health. I wish SWOG and all of you well as I pass into the next phase of my life and career as senior advisor. And as you know, I'm never afraid to give advice. Thank you.
Well, that was certainly lovely, but it's time for part 2. So here's where we show you the money, the non-federal money. SWOG is grateful to the Hope Foundation for providing it. Hope makes us make great ideas happen, and they build our future by filling funding gaps for our next generation of physician researchers. It's actually quite a bit more than just cash. We, with the help of Hope, offer select training as well. You can see here key juried research programs and their corresponding application deadlines. Please visit thehopefoundation.org to learn more. As in past years, we've had an incredible crop of young investigators who get the financial support they need to attend an immersive cancer clinical trials training course organized by SWOG and held each year in Seattle with support from the Statistical Center. What's new and important about this year's Young Investigators course was that we had for the first time formal international participation. Because of SWOG's Latin American initiative, this year we welcomed Dr. Salim Barquet Munoz from the National Cancer Institute of Mexico, as well as Dr. Juan Andres Rubiano, National Cancer Institute, Colombia. The other successful applicants and attendees were Dr. Matthew Harkenrider from Loyola, Dr. Eugene K. Lee from University of Kansas, Dr. Parminder Singh, University of Arizona, and Dr. Victor Villalobos, University of Colorado. Congratulations to the group. The SWOG Hope Impact Award aims to significantly advance clinical cancer research by funding the development of new ideas, agents, targets, and technologies. It's the Scientific Innovation Award, and I'm happy to be able to announce not one, but 2 winners. A SWOG Hope Foundation Impact Award goes to Dr. Daruka Mahadevan from the University of Tennessee for a project entitled Aurora plus PI3 kinase inhibition abrogates PD-L1 induction in nodal T-cell lymphoma. Another award goes to Catherine Smith, PhD, from the University of Arizona Cancer Center for a project entitled Identifying Biomarkers of Sensitivity to Histone Deacetylase Inhibitors in DLBCL. Congratulations to you both. The Hope Foundation's SWOG Early Exploration and Development, or SEED, Fund Awards provide up to $50,000 for preliminary research that will translate to SWOG clinical trials or trial-associated projects. We have two winners of SEED funding to announce today. Dr. Jennifer Amenguel of Columbia University for her project entitled Identifying Patterns of Mutations in Epigenetic Modifiers as a Strategy to Direct Targeting of the Transcriptionally Repressed State of Germinal Center-Derived Lymphomas, and Dr. Sue Fun Wong of Chapman University School of Pharmacy for her project Formulation of Topical Vitamin K1 for EGFR-Induced Skin Rash. Doctors, if you're here, please stand. Please be congratulated. With the Hope Foundation, last year we launched the SWOG Trial Support Awards, which support critical study components that require additional funding. We have 3 new STARS Awards to announce. Dr. Alan Alghazi from UC San Francisco has received a STARS Award to provide bridge funding for 1320, a randomized phase 2 trial of intermittent versus continuous dosing of dabrafenib and trametinib in BRAF mutant melanoma. Dr. Sarah Goldberg from Yale has been awarded support to fund drug relabeling for 1403, afatinib plus cetuximab versus afatinib alone in treatment-naive patients with advanced EGFR mutation-positive non-small cell lung cancer. And Drs. Timothy Seinold of City of Hope with Dr. Christopher Ryan from Oregon Health and Science University have received funds that will allow PK analysis of blood samples for the Everest 0931 bladder cancer trial. Will these winners please stand? Well done. Thank you. It keeps getting better. We had the pleasure last week of announcing the winners of our all-new VA Integration Support Program Awards, which were designed to help VA medical centers remove barriers, financial and regulatory, to improving clinical care access for military veterans. As you know, the awards are part of a larger SWOG effort to help these veterans take part in our trials and in any NCTN study. For the VA Integration Support Program Awards, we had a great pool of 15 interested candidates, and we chose 5 VA centers to each receive a $25,000 grant to launch SWOG and other NCTN studies at their sites. These are Central Arkansas Veterans Healthcare System, Cincinnati VA Medical Center, Durham VA Medical Center, VA Eastern Colorado Healthcare System, and the VA New York Harbor Healthcare System. Please join me in applauding these centers for their commitment to bringing the latest in trial opportunities to America's veterans. So I know your hands are likely sore from all this clapping. We're going to give them a rest and dive into the main attraction of our general plenary. When I say patients are our priority, I'm talking the talk. When we engage the patients and advocates to help us design and open trials, we're walking the walk. Our general plenary session is devoted to helping us walk that walk with a firmer and surer tread. Our advocates bring the patient's perspective to our research development process. We've worked with our advocates in piecemeal fashion for a long time, but we can and must do better. How can we work in meaningful ways with our advocates to improve our trials from earliest concept to final dissemination? Well, today we'll get clear suggestions on making that happen. We'll hear research findings on the role of advocates in cooperative groups and success stories of how advocates have had a direct and positive impact on cancer trial outcomes.